about representing the people, and this could, many people are disgusted with the government now, so they really don't feel passionate about it, and this could allow people, this could regain the trust between the American people and politicians, lawmakers, and law enforcers. So I feel that it has to begin at a young age.
Corporations to the billionaires. They're not going to answer to me. I'm going to sit back and do nothing. Well, you have to tell them and convince them that no, sitting back and doing nothing is not the answer. Getting angry and doing something is the answer.
I mean, we've seen people who have gone from like writing a Facebook status to having a blog that millions of people read every day and getting support and opinions with things like that. So I do feel it's up to us.
And some people would say, think about all the information that we have access to. How do we separate fact from fiction? Can we think about all the pamphlets that you receive on a daily basis from politicians, from special interest groups, from nonprofits, from lobbyists, from whatever it is? So how do we separate what's true and what's not?
You can come to your public library.
And evenly presented.
We recommend people who haven't run for office, any one of us who hasn't run for office, we could put ourselves on the ballot and maybe we should run for elected. And the benefit of that is maybe we're not as influenced by outside money or by the same, by like the old club that we've always been in. But then one of the downfalls would be that we don't have the experience and we're more susceptible to tricks. So what are your responses to this?
And I'm all for, support whatever your beliefs are, but I think it's important for people to explore options. And even though, true, there isn't nearly the money in these smaller parties, the more perturbed people get as time goes on, the more strength in numbers grassroots movements will grow, and they are. You can see just in the New York State election for governor, the Green Party was third.
What Nelson Mandela did, it was all from the bottom up. It was only when the masses finally got together and said, enough's enough, we're going to stay under this common ground of what connects us first, not what divides us.
Yeah, a good friend of mine who's been a lobbyist in Washington on behalf of psychiatric nurses, all right, for years and years and years. And before Bill Clinton, you could count the lobbying addresses in a couple of buildings, lobbies. Today, by the 90s ended, exponentially, I think there's about, I don't know, look it up, 6,000 lobbyists or no? I mean, it's insanity.
Politicians are still people with wives and families and husbands and children who need to be supported. And if they don't know if they're going to have a job in 2 or 3 or 4 years, they may not get into politics at all. If they leave their job as a lawyer or a mailman like I am, and I'm only able to be in that position for 2, 4, 6 years, I'm not as likely to go into it because I have a family to support.
We have to tap into that person and unite, us, and keep telling them what we want in order for us to be heard, and then they can move forward and tell the other people. But they're not going to know if we don't get together and give them our opinions and keep telling them, and because they're the ones with the voice. We'll tell them, they'll go ahead and tell other people. We're not using that.
Yeah, it's about people wanting to be engaged and having a passion, and I think maybe there's a lack of passion across the board in this approach.
Right. So many more pragmatic issues affected them, so they didn't really have time to kind of focus on issues like this, politics at a grand scale, or even politics at the local level. How do you reach those areas where they have more pragmatic issues to kind of focus on?
You can do it if you want to. You get up earlier and you stay up like one day, you can do it.
They make it so much harder for for people with especially coming from like low socioeconomic standings to go out and vote. And it's kind of to preserve that majority in their state legislatures.
This is my son. Okay.
I've been voting for him.
He's going to become president. But anyway, and that's my husband. But what's I going to say? One thing that I do want to stress, it is a partnership. It's the teachers.
teachers, the school, and also the parents. We, at least, we have very passionate debates in my house. We get passionate, you know? We were like, shut up, let us do. We get, but we hit the points, and we try to express ourselves. And whether we're right or wrong, at least just give the opportunity to, you learn. Because sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes he's right, sometimes, you know, and we just want to get the information, so we're so debatable that we're like, okay, wait a minute, let's look it up, let's see what's going on, and see who's right. Because I think is power is not, knowledge is power.
You know, everything comes down to money, and let's be honest, that's the way it is, you know?
He wants to give up on everything.
No, it's about people going with good intentions, but, you know, their pockets are full and they just think a totally different way.
So a lot of the government is in the shadows. And, you know, you're absolutely right about Prop 1. I mean, it was presented that this is going to lead to better redistricting. It ended up letting the elected politicians protect themselves. And usually from both parties, you know, they make those kinds of deals.
I like to speak, but I also like to listen. And this gives me an opportunity to hear other voices, other opinions. I get to meet people like Juan, which I don't normally run across. You know, I'm not, this country is so vast, and there's, you know, you say you're from Florida, there's so many different subsets of cultures and issues that are important to them.
But that doesn't mean you don't strive for it, because we have young people, and hopefully they'll carry it forth in their lifetimes. Whenever something bothers you, you gotta get off your butt and work with groups, agencies, yourself, and try to make a difference. And that's it.
You know, actually, I got a different perspective on everything. I could have been dead like 6 months ago. I had a quadruple, whatever. But I'm just happy to be here.
And this is the first time I was in this kind of situation, I guess, this forum. And I think it was great. I think your opinions, I learned things that I didn't know, so I do like it. And I think that, you know, older culture, younger culture, you know, you'll make a change.
I feel this is a really great program that a lot of the schools should be involved in, and a lot of schools should have top clubs or extracurricular activities.
So proud of David, this young person. He's really just very proud of him and his parents. They did such a good job.
If you're involved in political activism, and you know, if you have a real idea of what a solution should be, I enjoy discussions like that.
It's nice to see a really good cross-section, because a lot of the different organizations I work with, you see the same class, you know, the same, it's very much the same people involved in everything, which is great to have passionate people, but it's nice to see a cross-section of our culture, our society, because that's the whole point. You want it to be representation of everybody, not just the same few. And I think, you know, it's a lot of work and there's a lot to be done, but you have to start somewhere. And you said, you know, apathy is a huge issue, but people who are passionate, you know, they keep trucking. Hopefully, slowly, people will think either, well, I can complain or I can try to do something about it. So hopefully things pick up and continue and go in the right direction.
Young people, and I'm loving hearing these young people getting engaged in this wondrous thing called American democracy. And being informed and being coming out of the, you know, the shadows.
It's good to see things like this happening because they're just very healthy, and it's, I mean, just from listening this whole time, just everyone's opinions being voiced. I just from listening, I feel, you know, even more just educated and more informed.
I really enjoyed this. I like when I've learned from like my professor Mike that I love when everybody sits in a circle because I feel like we all hear each other and we talk, and I really do enjoy that. I feel like everyone can see each other and it's really nice. I agree with what Colin and Joe said that the government's never going to be perfect, and that's what brings us all together. So I guess it's a good thing because we can all talk about these things and share ideas. And like I said, it is up to, you know, our generation, you know, really to try and make these changes and step forward. And I agree with what you said, Ingrid, about, you know, everybody needs to have passion, and that's what's really going to spur change, and that's really fundamental for us to see what we want and to make our voices heard.
I always love these kinds of things. I think conversation is one of the biggest tools we have, and to change people, to change ourselves. I always think my mind is pretty set on things, and then I've done multiple of these, and every time something changes. So you hear people from all walks of life, and they change your ideas, because you can think about political pundits and you can watch the news, but when you see a person's passion face to face, it just has this power over you that you just wouldn't any other way.